Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
You have written such a wonderful relationship film for the 90s. I just wondered, did you always assume that you would play the role of Frank?
Yes, there was no question about that, no doubt about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of wrote it
With
myself in mind, but when Mike and I were writing the script, we actually were just writing Frank, constructing him from different guys that we knew. So even as we were writing, I thought it was going to be a lot of fun to play, because this guy's not something I've played before, and just stuff like the fishing scene I knew would be a blast to shoot, you know. And the arguing stuff between us I knew would be a lot of fun. So.
Now, did you have Sandra in mind when you were
This is a never-ending argument that we have been going through.
No, he did not, but I got the part. Nevertheless, I had to work at it a little bit, but that's okay. You know, nothing's worth having unless you have to beg, plead, and borrow for it.
Not true. We,
Did you make her beg for this part?
No, I didn't. I
had to work for it.
It's a long story, but basically it comes down to we didn't write with anybody in mind. Then we got done, and I knew Sandy. We'd worked together in Demolition Man and stuff. And this other actress friend of mine, I went to and said, you know, do you want to play this part?
I won't ask you.
I can't name the name. And she said,
she
well,
actually would have been great for it.
and I'm not right for it, but you know, I think Sandy would be. And we were like, oh yeah, it's a great idea. So then, this is where the argument starts. I called Sandy and said, hey, Baba Bing, and Sandy says that I didn't call her and that she called me. And
I got the script because I heard he wrote one. I said, I'd love to read what Dennis has written just for the hey-ho of it. And we called them. I called it because I really wanted to do it, and at that time, you know, it's not something that they would have seen me in the role. And I remembered there being some reluctance, but you know, not from your part though, not from Dennis's part. But I got it. Doesn't matter. And
all right, you know what? I'll name the other actress. B. Arthur. That's who it was.
No, she was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a different way to go.
It was a different way, but I thought she would.
But fortunately, a big fan of yours and mentioned your name.
Thank God.
Do you feel like, speaking about your relationship, do you feel like that helped you guys to ease into your characters?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think we could have had half of what we did. I couldn't have, you know, because most of my stuff comes from him throwing it at me, and you know, we just have a good rapport in that banter category thing.
And there were a couple of times that we just, Sandy would say, hey, I'm not crazy about this scene, or this is not going well, and we would just throw the script out the window. The closet scene, which was completely improvised, which was only one line in the script. They go into these two dressing rooms and they change.
That was it.
And the scene in the car where we try to have sex in the car, which we just, at the end of like 6 takes of the scripted scene, we said, what the hell, let's, for the hell of it, as a joke, let's just do...
We weren't going to tell everyone what we were going to do.
We didn't tell anybody, we
just
just went in there and took our clothes off, and it was pretty funny.
That's totally improvised?
Yeah.
Impressive. Now, are you comfortable with that as a writer?
Well, yeah, I mean, I see as a writer, I didn't think of myself as the writer once we started shooting, which is great.
Which was great. Totally no ego. He just, because I would forget that he wrote it, and I'd say, well, this is a stupid line. Why would, you know?
Then she'd say it out loud. It's a stupid line. And I found myself going like, yeah, she's right, it is a stupid line. And some of them were the lines that I wrote, but I wasn't thinking that way. I was thinking as Frank, so.
I never said it was a stupid line. I never, did I?
Yeah, you did.
I did?
Times, yeah.
No, so Ron, just
nice snort, by the way.
Good save, too.
Yeah, real good save.
Bold character, I thought. Very different than anything I've ever seen you do before. So was that easy for you to get into?
Totally. I think it's closer to me probably than, you know, I mean, it's got a lot of elements of me in it, just like the other ones did, but the other ones, the people I have a lot more respect for because they're a lot more thoughtful and reserved. I tend to like barrel into situations without thinking a lot like Roz, but she's more vocal. She vocalizes what I think, and I do quietly. She does it very loudly. So that's, I think, the good analogy. Dennis?
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good analogy.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Roz, I think, is adorable. Frank, you played so well that I just wondered why the two of them would still be together after all this time.
Well,
I think they're just
meant for each other. They work together. Whether they like it or not, they don't know how to communicate with each other, and they realize that, but they fit. They are like each other. It's like, you know, couples who've been together for so long become each other. Their mannerisms, what they want, you know.
Right, it's also those minor changes. If you're in a relationship, you start out thinking from both sides, like, boy, I really love this person, everything's perfect, and then you get that phase where you go like, I really hate these 4 things about this person, and they have to change them or that's it. And then in the end, you just realize it's like cosmetic changes, like quit smoking and do this and get, and you, if people make those kind of changes, you go, all right, I can live with everything else, you know?
They really do love each other. I mean, they just work. I mean, they argue a lot, which that's my water.
Which is healthy. Is your water?
Yeah, here's his one.
Scary.
What's the difference?
But I think it's a more realistic view on what romance is these days, as opposed to the sort of you know, fluffy, glazed version that we get a lot.
Do you think that men and women are going to look at this film differently?
Yeah, men are going to agree with the men, and women are going to agree with the women. And I think they'll be able to look at both sides and go see a lot of, because the more we talk about this film when you're describing the man's point of view, the more I understand. It's true. I mean, I've learned a lot from you, Dennis.
You have? Good.
It's good. One last thing. Can I just get each of you individually to say to camera, HBO something special's on?
HBO something special's on.
Yes.
Just for HBO?
Yes.
Oh, what the hell.
Because if it wasn't, I
I was going to say.
I actually work for E. But
Ready?
Which camera?
You know what? We don't let people do that as a company policy.
Oh, really?
Sorry.
then excuse me for asking.
Oh, well, Dennis, shut you up real quick.
It was looking good though.
Yeah, I know. I was ready to.
Dennis is like,
I was ready to roll.
We want them to